हेलो फ्रेंड्स, नमस्ते, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल। मैं प्रोफेसर दत्तात्रेय घोड़के आप सभी का फिर से एक बार स्वागत करता हूँ आपके चहेते शो में जिसका नाम है रीड विद मी। चलिए कुछ अच्छा सुनते हैं। नाउ इन दिस एपिसोड वी आर गोइंग टू रीड द पार्ट 2 ऑफ वेरी स्पेशल बुक विच इज एंटाइटल्ड एज द पावर ऑफ योर सबकॉन्शियस माइंड, विच इज रिटन बाय जोसेफ मर्फी. If you have missed the part 1 readings, you can find the link of that video in the description box as well as in the comment section. You can go over there and you can have the learning. Okay. And along with this, the power of your subconscious mind, we have completed reading Ikigai book, then how to take back control of your life book, then Inner Engineering, a Yogi's Guide to Joy. Those books also we have completed reading. Okay. If you have missed any of the readings, you can check out the link of that video in the description box as well as in the comment section. You can go over there and you can enjoy the learning. Now let us get ahead with the part 2 of the power of your subconscious mind, which is written by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Let us get ahead. Chapter number 6, Practical Techniques in Mental Healings. An engineer has a technique and a process for building a bridge or an engine. Like the engineer, your mind also has a technique for governing, controlling, and directing your life. You must realize that methods and techniques are primary. In building the Golden Gate Bridge, the chief engineer understood mathematical principles, stresses, and strains. Secondly, he had a picture of the ideal bridge across the day. The third step was his application of tried and proven methods by which the principles were implemented until the bridge took form and we drive on it. There also are techniques and methods by which your prayers are answered. If your prayer is answered, there is a way in which it is answered. And this is a scientific way. Nothing happens by chance. This is a world of law and order. In this chapter, you will find the practical techniques for the unfolding and nurture of your spiritual life. Your prayers must not remain up in the air like a balloon. They must go somewhere and accomplish something in your life. When we come to analyze prayer, we discover there are many different approaches and methods. We will not consider in this book the formal ritual prayer used in religious services. These have important place in group worship. We are immediately concerned with the methods of personal prayer as it is applied in your daily life and as it is used to help others. Prayer is the formulation of an idea concerning something we wish to accomplish. Prayer is the soul's sincere desire. Your desire is your prayer. It comes out of your deepest needs and it reveals the things you want in your life. Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. That is really prayer. Life's hunger and thirst for peace, harmony, health, joy, and all other blessings of life. The passing over technique for impregnating the subconscious. This consists essentially in including the subconscious mind to take over your request as handed it by the conscious mind. This passing over is best accomplished in a rewire-like state. Know that in your deeper mind are infinite intelligence and infinite power. Just calmly think over what you want, see it coming into fuller fruition from this moment forward. Be like the little girl who had a very bad cough and a sore throat. She declared firmly and repeatedly, "It is passing away now, it is passing away now." It passed away in about an hour. Use this technique, this complete simplicity and never. Your subconscious will accept your blueprint. If you are building a new home for yourself and family, you know that you would be intensely interested in regard to the blueprint of your home. You would see to it that the builders confronted the blueprint. You would watch the material and select only the best wood, steel, in fact the best of everything. What about your mental home and your mental blueprint for happiness and abundance? All your experiences and everything that enters into your life depends upon the nature of the mental building blocks which you use in the construction of your mental home. If your blueprint is full of mental patterns of fear, worry, anxiety, or lack, and if you are despondent, doubtful, and cynical, then the texture of the mental material you are weaving into your mind will come forth as more toil, care, tension, anxiety, and a limitation of all kinds. The most fundamental and the most far-reaching activity in a life is that which you build into your mentality every waking hour. Your word is silent and invisible, nevertheless it is real. You are building your mental home all the time, and your thought and mental imagery represent your blueprint. Hour by hour, moment by moment, you can build radiant health, success, and happiness by the thoughts you think, the ideas which you harbor, the beliefs that you accept, and the scenes that you rehearse in the hidden studio of your mind. This stately mansion upon the construction of which you are perpetually engaged is your personality, your identity in this plane, your whole life story on this earth. Get a new blueprint built silently by realizing peace, harmony, joy, and goodwill in the present moment. By dwelling upon these things and claiming them, your subconscious will accept your blueprint and bring all these things to pass. By their fruits you shall know them. The science and art of true prayer. The term science means knowledge which is coordinated, arranged, and systematized. Let us think of the science and art of true prayer as it deals with fundamental principles of life and the techniques and processes by which they can be demonstrated in your life, as well as in the life of every human being when he applies them faithfully. The art is your technique or process, and the science behind it is the definite response of a creative mind to your mental picture or thought. Ask and it shall be given you, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Matthew 7:7. Here you are told you shall receive that for which you ask. It shall be opened to you when you knock, and you shall find that for which you are searching. This teaching implies the definiteness of mental and spiritual laws. There is always a direct response from the infinite intelligence of your subconscious mind to your conscious thinking. If you ask for bread, you will not receive a stone. You must ask believing if you are to receive. Your mind moves from the thought to the thing. Unless there is a first an image in the mind, it cannot move, for there would be nothing for it to move toward. Your prayer, which is your mental act, must be accepted as an image in your mind before the power from your subconscious will play upon it and make it productive. You must reach a point of acceptance in your mind, an unqualified and undisputed state of agreement. This contemplation should be accompanied by a feeling of joy and restfulness in foreseeing the certain accomplishment of your desire. The sound basis for the art and science of true prayer is your knowledge and complete confidence that the moment of your conscious mind will gain a definite response from your subconscious mind, which is one of the boundless wisdom and infinite power. By following this procedure, your prayer will be answered. The visualization technique. The easiest and most obvious way to formulate an idea is to visualize it, to see it in your mind's eye as vividly as if it were alive. You can see with the naked eye only what already exists in the external world. In a similar way, that which you can visualize in your mind's eye already exists in the invisible realms of your mind. Any picture which you have in your mind is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. What you form in your imagination is as real as any part of your body. The idea and the thought are real and will one day appear in your objective world if you are faithful to your mental image. This process of thinking forms impressions in your mind. These impressions in turn becomes manifested as facts and experiences in your life. The builder visualizes the type of building he wants. He sees it as the desire it to be completed. His imagery and thought process become a plastic mold from which the building will emerge, a beautiful or an ugly one, a skyscraper or a very low one. His mental imagery is projected as it is drawn on paper. Eventually, the contractor and his workers gather the essential material and the building progresses until it stands finished, conforming preferably to the mental patterns of the architect. I use the visualization technique prior to speaking from the platform. I quiet the wheels of my mind in order that I may present to the subconscious mind my images of thought. Then I picture the entire auditorium and the seats filled with men and women, and each one of them illuminated and inspired by the infinite healing presence within each one. I see them as radiant, happy and free. Having first built up the idea in my imagination, I quietly sustain it there as a mental picture while I hear men and women saying, I am healed, I feel wonderful, I have had an instantaneous healing, I am transformed. I keep this up for about 10 minutes or more, knowing and feeling that each person's mind and body are saturated with love, wholeness, beauty and perfection. My awareness grows to a point where in my mind I can actually hear the voices of a multitude proclaiming their health and happiness. Then I realize the whole picture and go onto the platform. Almost every Sunday, some people stop and say that their prayers were answered. Mental movie method. A Chinese say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. William James, the father of American psychology, stressed the fact that the subconscious mind will bring to pass any picture held in the mind and backed by faith. Act as though I am and I will be. A number of years ago, I was in the Middle West lecturing in several states, and I desired to have a permanent location in the general area from which I could serve those who desired help. I traveled far, but the desire did not leave my mind. One evening, while in a hotel in Spokane, Washington, I relaxed completely on a couch, immobilized my attention, and in a quiet, passive manner imagined that I was talking to a large audience, saying in effect, I am glad to be here. I have prayed for the ideal opportunity. I saw it in my mind's eye, the imaginary audience, and I felt the reality of it all. I played the role of the actor, dramatized this mental movie, and felt satisfied that this picture was being conveyed to my subconscious mind, which would bring it to pass in its own way. The next morning on awakening, I felt a great sense of peace and satisfaction, and in few days at time, I received a telegram asking me to take over an organization in the Midwest, which I did, and I enjoyed it immensely for several years. The method outlined here appeals to many who have described it as the mental movie method. I have received numerous letters from the people who listen to my radio talks and weekly public lectures, telling me of the wonderful results they get using this technique in the sale of their property. I suggest to those who have homes or property for sales that they satisfy themselves in their own mind that their price is right. Then I claim that the infinite intelligence is attracting to them the buyer who really wants to have the property and who will love it and prosper in it.
After having done this, I suggest that they quiet their mind, relax, let go, and get into a drowsy, sleepy state which reduces all mental efforts to a minimum. Then they are to picture the check in their hands and rejoice in the checks, give thanks for the check, and go up to sleep feeling the naturalness of the whole mental movie created in their own mind. They must act as though it were an objective reality, and the subconscious mind will take it as an impression, and through the deeper currents of the mind, the buyer and the seller are brought together. A mental picture held in the mind, backed by faith, will come to pass. The Baudian Technique. Charles Baudian was a professor at the Rosses Institute in France. He was a brilliant psychotherapist and a research director of the New Nancy School of Healing, who in 1910 taught that the best way to impress the subconscious mind was to enter into a drowsy, sleepy state, or a state akin to sleep in which all efforts was reduced to a minimum. Then in a quite passive, receptive way, by reflection, he would convey the idea to the subconscious. The following is his formula. A very simple way of securing this impregnating of the subconscious mind is to condense the idea which is to be object of suggestion, to sum it up in a brief phrase which can be readily graven on the memory, and to repeat it over and over again as a liability. Some years ago, a young lady in Los Angeles was engaged in a prolonged bitter family lawsuit over a will. Her husband had bequeathed his entire estate to her, and his sons and daughters by a previous marriage were bitterly fighting to break the will. The Baudian technique was outlined to her, and this is what she said. She relaxed her body in an armchair, entered into a sleepy state, and, as suggested, condensed the idea of her need into a phrase of consisting 6 words easily grave on the memory. It is finished in a divine order. The significance to her of these words meant that infinite intelligence operating through the laws of her subconscious mind would bring about a harmonious adjustment through the principle of harmony. She continued this procedure every night for about 10 nights after she got into a sleepy state, and would affirm slowly, quietly, feelingly the statement, "It is finished in a divine order," over and over again, feeling a sense of inner peace and an all-pervading tranquility. Then she went off into her deep and normal sleep. On the morning of 11th day following the use of above technique, she awakened with a sense of well-being, a conviction that it was finished. Her attorney called her the same day, saying that the opposing attorney and his clients were willing to settle, a harmonious agreement was reached, and litigation was discontinued. The sleeping technique. By entering into a sleepy, drowsy state, effort is reduced to a minimum. The conscious mind is submerged to a great extent when in a sleepy state. The reason for this is that the highest degree of outcropping the subconscious occurs prior to sleep and just after we awaken. In this state, the negative thoughts, which tend to neutralize your desire and so prevent acceptance by your subconscious mind, are no longer present. Suppose you want to get rid of a destructive habit, assume a comfortable posture, relax your body and be still. Get into a sleepy state, and in that sleepy state, say quietly, over and over again as a lullaby, "I am completely free from this habit, harmony and peace of mind regain as supreme." Repeat the above slowly, quietly, lovingly for 5 or 10 minutes, night and morning. Each time you repeat the words, the emotional value becomes greater. When the urge when the urge comes to repeat the negative habit, repeat the above formula out loud by yourself. By this means, you induce the subconscious to accept the idea and a healing follows. The thank you technique. In the Bible, Paul recommends that we make known our request with praise and thanksgiving. Some extraordinary results follow this simple method of prayer. The thankful heart is always close to the creative forces of the universe, causing countless blessings to flow towards it by the law of reciprocal relationship based on a cosmic law of action and reaction. For instance, a father promises his son a car for graduation. The boy has not yet received the car, but he is very thankful and happy and is as joyous as though he had actually received the car. He knows his father will fulfill his promise and he is full of gratitude and joy even though he has not yet received the car, objectively speaking. He has, however, received it with joy and thankfulness in his mind. I shall illustrate how Mr. Brock applied the technique with the excellent results. He said, "Bills are piling up. I am out of work. I have 3 children and no money. What shall I do?" Regularly every night and morning for a period of about 3 weeks, he repeated the words, "Thank you, Father, for my wealth," in a relaxed, peaceful manner until the feeling or mood of thankfulness dominated his mind. He imagined he was addressing the infinite power and intelligence within him, knowing, of course, that he would not see the creative intelligence or infinite mind. He was seeing with the inner eye of spiritual perception, realizing that his thought image of wealth was the first cause relative to the money, position, and food he needed. He thought feeling was the substance of wealth entrembled by antecedent condition of any kind. By repeating "Thank you, Father" over and over again, his mind and heart were lifted up to the point of acceptance, and when fear, thought of lack, poverty, and distress came into his mind, he would say "Thank you, Father" as often as necessary. He knew that as he kept up the thankful attitude, he would recondition his mind to the idea of wealth, which is what happened. The sequel to his prayer is very interesting. After praying in the above mentioned manner, he met a former employer of his on the street whom he had not seen for 20 years. The man offered him a very lucrative position and advanced him $500 and a temporary loan. Today, Mr. Brock is vice president of company for which he works. His recent remark to me was, "I shall never forget the wonders of "Thank you, Father." It has worked wonders for me." The affirmative method. The effectiveness of an affirmation is determined largely by your understanding of the truth and the meaning back of the words in praying used, not when repetition. Therefore, the power of your affirmation lies in the intelligent application of a definite and specific positives. For example, a boy adds 3 and 3, puts down 7 on the blackboard. The teacher affirms with mathematical certainty that 3 and 3 are 6. Therefore, the boy changes his fingers accordingly. The teacher's statement did not make 3 and 3 equal to 6 because the latter was already a mathematical truth. The mathematical truth caused the boy to rearrange the fingers on the blackboard. This is abnormal to the sick. It is abnormal to be sick. It is normal to be healthy. Health is the truth of your being. When you affirm health, harmony, and peace for yourself or another, and when you realize these are universal principles of your own being, you will rearrange the negative patterns of your subconscious mind based on your faith and understanding of that which you affirm. The results of affirmative process of a prayer depends on your conforming to the principles of life regardless of appearances. Consider for a moment that there is a principle of mathematics and none of error. There is a principle of truth but none of dishonesty. There is a principle of intelligence but but none of ignorance. There is a principle of harmony and none of discord. There is a principle of health but none of disease, and there is a principle of abundance but none of poverty. The affirmative method was chosen by the author for use on his sister who was to be operated on the removal of gallstones in a hospital in England. The condition described was based on the diagnosis of hospital tests and the usual X-ray producers. She asked me to pray for her. We were separated geographically about 6,500 miles, but there is no time or space in the mind principle. Infinite mind or intelligence in present in its entirety at every point simultaneously. I withdraw all thought from the contemplation of symptoms and form a corporal personality altogether. I affirm as follows. This prayer is for my sister Catherine. She is relaxed and at peace, poised, balanced, serene and calm. The healing intelligence of her subconscious mind, which created her body, is now transforming every cell, nerve, tissue, muscle and bone of her being according to the perfect pattern of all organs lodged in her subconscious mind. Silently, quietly, all distorted thought patterns in her subconscious mind are removed and dissolved, and the vitality, wholeness and beauty of life principles are made manifest in every atom of her being. She is now open and receptive to the healing currents which are flowing through her like a river, restoring her to perfect health, harmony and peace. All distortions and ugly images are now washed away by the infinite ocean of love and peace flowing through her, and it is so. I affirm the above several times a day, and at the end of 2 weeks my sister had an examination which showed a remarkable healing and the X-ray proved the negative. To affirm is to state that it is so, and as you maintain this attitude of mind as true, regardless of all evidences of contrary, you will receive an answer to your prayer. Your thought can only affirm, for even if you deny something, you are actually affirming the presence of what you deny. Repeating an affirmation, knowing what you are saying and why you are saying it, leads the mind to that state of consciousness where it accepts that which you state as true. Keep on affirming the truths of life until you get the subconscious reaction which satisfies. The argumentative method. This method is just what the word implies. It seems from the procedure of Dr. Philip of a Maine, Dr. Quimby, a pioneer in a mental and spiritual healing, lived and practiced in the Belfast, Maine. Almost 100 years ago, a book called The Quimby Manuscripts, published in 1921 by Thomas Y. Crowell Company, New York City, and edited by Horatio Dresser, is available in your library. This book gives newspaper accounts of this man's remarkable results in a prayer treatment of the sick. Quimby duplicated many of the healing miracles recorded in the Bible. In brief, the argumentative method imagery to thought imagery consists of spiritual reasoning where you convince the patient and yourself that his sickness is due to his false beliefs, groundless fears and negative patterns lodged in his subconscious mind. You reason it out clearly in your mind and convince your patient that the disease or ailment is due only to a distorted, twisted pattern of thought which has taken form in his body. This wrong belief in some external power and external cause has now externalized itself as sickness and can be changed by changing the thought patterns. You explain to the sick person that the basis of all healing is a change of belief. You also point out that the subconscious mind created the body and all its organs. Therefore, it knows how to heal it, can heal it, and is doing so now as you speak. You argue in the courtroom of your mind that the disease is a shadow of the mind based on disease-soaked morbid thought imagery. You continue to build up all the evidence you can muster on behalf of healing power within, which created all the organs in the first place, and which has a perfect pattern of every cell, nerve, and tissue within it. Then you render a verdict in the courthouse of your mind in favor of yourself or your patient. You liberate the sick one by faith and spiritual understanding. Your mental and spiritual evidence is overwhelming. They are being but one mind. What you feel as true will be reassured in the experience of a patient. This procedure is essentially the argumentative method used by Dr. Quimby from 1849 to 1869. The absolute method is like modern sound wave therapy. Many people throughout the world practice this form of prayer treatment with wonderful results. The person using the absolute method mentions the name of the patient, such as John Jones, then quietly and silently thinks the God and his qualities and attributes, such as God is all bliss, boundless love, infinite intelligence, all powerful, boundless wisdom, absolute harmony, indescribable beauty and perfection. As he quietly thinks along these lines, he is lifted up in consciousness into a new spiritual wavelength, at which times he feels the infinite ocean of God's love is now dissolving everything unlike itself in the mind and body of John Jones, for whom he is praying. He feels all the power and love of God are now focused on John Jones, and whatever is bothering or vexing him is now completely neutralized in the presence of infinite ocean of life and love. The absolute method of prayer might be likened to the sound wave or sonic therapy recently shown me by a distinguished physician in the Los Angeles. He has an ultrasound wave machine which oscillates at a tremendous speed and sends sound waves to an area of the body to which it is directed. These sound waves can be controlled, and he told me of achieving remarkable results in dissolving arthritic calories deposits as well as the healing and removal of other disturbing conditions. To the degree that we rise in consciousness by complementing qualities and attributes of God, do we generate spiritual electronic waves of harmony, health, and peace. Many remarkable healing follows this technique of prayer. A cripple walks. Dr. Phineas Quimby, of whom we spoke previously in this chapter, used the absolute method in the latter years of his healing career. He was really the father of psychosomatic medicine and the first psychoanalyst. He had the capacity to diagnose clearly the cause of the patient's trouble, pain, and aches. The following is a condensed account of the healing of a cripple as recorded in Quimby's manuscripts. Quimby was called on to visit a woman who was lame, aged, and bedridden. He states that her ailments was due to the fact that she was imprisoned by a creed so small and contracted that she could not stand upright and move about. She was living in the tomb of fear and ignorance. Furthermore, she was talking the Bible literally, and it frightened her. In this tomb, Quimby said, was the presence and power of God trying to burst the bands, break through the bonds, and rise from the dead. When she would ask others for an explanation of some passage of Bible, the answer would be a stone. Then she would hunger for the bread of life. Dr. Quimby diagnosed her case as a mind cloudy and stagnated due to excitation and fear caused by the inability to see clearly the meaning of the passage of the Bible, which she had been reading. This showed itself in the body by her heavy and sluggish feeling, which would terminate as a paralysis. At this point, Quimby asked her what was meant in the Bible verses. Yet a little while I am with you, and then I go unto him that sent me. You shall seek me and shall not find me, and where I am, neither you cannot me. She replied that it meant Jesus went to heaven. Quimby explained what it literally meant by telling her that being with her a little while meant his explanation of her symptoms, feelings, and their causes. That is, he had compassion and sympathy for her momentarily, but he could not remain in that mental state. The next step was to go to him that sent us, which, as Quimby pointed out, was the creative power of God in all of us. Quimby immediately traveled in his mind and contemplated the divine ideal, that is, the vitality, intelligence, harmony, and power of God functioning in the sick person. This is why he said to the woman, "Therefore, where I go, you cannot come, for you are in your narrow, restricted belief, and I am in hell." This prayer and explanation produced an instantaneous sensation, and a change came over her mind. She walked without her crutches. Quimby said it was one of the most singular of all his healings. She was, as it were, dead to error, and to bring her to life or truth was to raise her from the dead. Quimby quoted the recursion of Christ and applied it to her own Christ or health. This produced a powerful effect on her. He also explained to her that the truth which she accepted was the angel or idea which rolled away the stone of fear, ignorance, and superstition, thereby releasing the healing power of God which made her whole. The decree method. The power goes into our word according to the feeling and faith behind it. When we realize the power that moves the world is moving on our behalf and is backing up our word, our confidence and assurance grow. You do not try and add power to power, therefore there must be no mental striving, force, or mental wrestling. A young girl used the decree method on a young man who was constantly phoning her, pressing her for dates, and meeting her at her place of business. She found it very difficult to get rid of him. She decreed as follows: "I release unto God. He is in his true place at all times. I am free and he is free. I now decree that my words go forth into infinite mind and it brings it to pass. It is so." She said they vanished and she has never seen him since, adding, "It was as though the ground swallowed him up." That's it as per our chapter number 6 is concerned. Serve yourself with a scientific truth. First one, be a mental engineer and use tried and proven techniques in the building a grander and greater life. Second, your desire is your prayer. Picture the fulfillment of your desire now and feel its reality, and you will experience the joy of the answered prayer. Third, desire to accomplish things the easy way with the sure aid of mental science. Fourth, you can build a radiant health, success, and happiness by the thoughts you think in the hidden studio of your mind. Fifth, experiment scientifically until you personally prove that there is always a direct response from the infinite intelligence of your subconscious mind to your conscious thinking. Sixth, feel the joy and restfulness in foreseeing the certain accomplishments of your desire. Any mental picture which you have in your mind is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. 7. A mental picture is worth 1,000 words. Your subconscious will bring to pass any picture held in the mind backed by the faith. 8. Avoid all efforts or mental Korean in a prayer. Get into a sleepy, drowsy state and lull yourself to sleep feeling and knowing that your prayer is answered. Ninth one, remember that the thankful heart is always close to the riches of the universe. 10th one, to affirm is to state that it is so, and as you maintain this attitude of mind as true, regardless of all evidences to the contrary, you will receive an answer to your prayer. 11th one, generate electronic waves of harmony, health and peace by thinking of love and the glory of God. And 12th, what you decree and feel as true will come to pass. Decree harmony, health, peace and abundance. Let us get ahead with chapter number 7. The tendency of subconscious is a life word. Over 90% of your mental health is subconscious, so men and women who fail to make use of this marvelous power live within very narrow limits. Your subconscious processes are always life word and constructive. Your subconscious is the builder of your body and maintain all its vital function. It is on the job 24 hours a day and never sleeps. It is always trying to help and preserve you from harm. Your subconscious mind is in touch with infinite life and boundless wisdom. And its impulses and ideas are always a life word. The great aspirations, inspirations and visions for a grander and nobler life spring from the subconscious. Your profoundest convictions are those you cannot argue about rationally because they do not come from your conscious mind, they came from your subconscious mind. Your subconscious speaks to you in intuitions, impulses, hunches, intimations, urges and ideas, and it is always telling you to rise, transcend, grow, advance, adventure and move forward to greater heights. The urge to love, to save the lives of others comes from the depths of your subconscious. For example, during the great San Francisco earthquake, the fire of April 18, 1906, invalids and cripples who had been confined to bed for long periods of time rose up and performed some of the most amazing feats of bravery and endurance. The intense desire welled up within them to save others at all cost, and their subconscious responded accordingly. Great artists, musicians, poets, speakers and writers tune in with their subconscious powers and become animated and inspired. For example, Robert Louis Stevenson, before he went to sleep, used to charge his subconscious with the task of evolving stories for him while he slept. He was accustomed to ask his subconscious to give him a good, marketable thriller when his bank account was low. Stevenson said the intelligence of his deeper mind gave him the story piece by piece like a serial. This shows how your subconscious will speak lofty and wise saying through you, which your conscious mind knows nothing about. Mark Twain confided to the world on many occasions that he never worked in his life. All his humor and all his great writings were due to the fact that he tapped the inexhaustible reservoir of his subconscious mind. How the body portrays the workings of the mind. The interactions of your conscious and subconscious mind requires a similar interactions between corresponding system of nerves. The cerebrospinal system is the organ of the conscious mind and the sympathetic system is the organ of subconscious mind. The cerebrospinal system is the channel through which you receive conscious perception by means of your 5 physical senses and exercise control over the movement of your body. This system has its nerves in the brain and it is the channel of your volitional and conscious mental action.
The sympathetic system, sometimes referred to as the involuntary nervous system, has its center in an ganglionic mass at the back of the stomach known as the solar plexus, and is sometimes spoken of as an abdominal brain. It is the channel of that mental action which unconsciously supports the vital functions of the body. The two systems may work separately or synchronously. Judge Thomas Troward says, the vagus nerve passes out of the cerebral region as a portion of the voluntary system, and through it we control the vocal organs. Then it passes onwards on the thorax, sending out branches to the heart and the lungs, finally passing through the diaphragm. It loses the outer coating which distinguishes the nerves of the voluntary system and becomes identified with those of the sympathetic system, so forming a connecting link between the two and making the man physically a single entirely. Similarly, different areas of brain indicate their connection with the objective and subjective activities of the mind respectively, and speaking in a general way, we may assign the frontal portion of the brain to the former and the posterior portion to the latter, while the intermediate portion partakes of the character of both. A rather simple way of looking at the mental and physical interaction is to realize that your conscious mind grasps an idea which induces a corresponding vibration in your voluntary system of nerves. This in turn causes a similar current to be generated in your involuntary system of nerves, thus handling the idea over to your subconscious mind, which in the creative medium. This is how your thoughts becomes things. Every thought entertained by your conscious mind and accepted as true is sent by your brain to your solar plexus and the brain of your subconscious mind to be made into your flesh and to be brought forth into your world as a reality. There is an intelligence which takes care of the body. When you study the cellular system and the structure of organs such as eyes, ears, heart, liver, bladder, etc., you learn they consist of groups of cells which form a group of intelligence whereby they function together and are able to take orders and carry them out in a deductive functions at a suggestion of the mastermind, that is conscious mind. A careful study of the single-celled organism shows you what goes on in your complex body. Though the monocellular organism has no organs, it still gives evidence of mind action and reaction, performing the basic functions of movement, alimentation, assimilation, and elimination. Many say there is an intelligence which will take care of your body if you let it alone. That is true, but the difficulty is that the conscious mind always interferes with its five sense evidence based on outer appearance, leading to suave or false beliefs, fears, and mere opinions. When fear, false beliefs, and negative patterns are made to register in your subconscious mind through psychological emotional conditioning, there is no other course open to the subconscious mind except to act on the blueprint specifications offered it. The subconscious mind works continually for common good. The subjective self within you works continuously for the general good, reflecting an innate principle of harmony behind all things. Your subconscious mind has its own will and it is very real, something in itself. It acts night and day whether you act upon it or not. It is the builder of your body, but you cannot see, hear, or feel it building, as all this is a silent process. Your subconscious has a life of its own, which is always moving toward harmony, health, and peace. This is the divine norm within it, seeking expression through you at all times.
how man interferes with the innate principle of harmony. To think correctly scientifically, we must know the truth. To know the truth is to be in harmony with the infinite intelligence and power of your subconscious mind, which is always moving lifeward. Every thought or action which is not harmonious, whether through ignorance or design, will result in a discord and a limitation of all kinds. Scientists inform us that you build a new body every 11 months. So you are really only 11 months old from a physical standpoint if you built defects back into your body by thoughts of fears, anger, jealousy and ill will. You have no one to blame but yourself. You are the sum total of your thoughts. You can keep from entertaining negative thoughts and imagery. The way you get rid of darkness is with light. The way to overcome cold is with heat. The way to overcome the negative thought is to substitute the good thought. Affirm the good and the bad will vanish. Why it's normal to be healthy, vital and strong, it's abnormal to be sick. The average child born into the world is perfectly healthy with all its organs functioning perfectly. This is the normal state and we should remain healthy, vital and strong. The instinct of self-preservation is the strongest instinct of your nature and it constitutes a most potent, ever-present and constantly operative truth inherent in your nature. It is therefore obvious that all your thoughts, ideas, beliefs must operate with a greater potentiality when they are in harmony with the innate life principle in you, which is forever seeking to preserve and protect you along all lines. It follows from this that normal conditions can be restored with greater ease and certainty than abnormal conditions can be induced. It is abnormal to be sick. It simply means you are going against the stream of life and thinking negatively. The law of life is the law of growth. All nature testifies to an operation of this law by silently, constantly expressing itself in the law of growth. Where there is a growth and expression, there must be life. Where there is a life, there must be harmony. And where there is a harmony, there is a perfect health. If your thought is in harmony with the creative principle of your subconscious mind, you are in tune with the innate principle of the harmony. If you entertain thoughts which are not in accordance with the principle of harmony, these thoughts cling to you, harass you, worry you, and finally bring about disease, and it persisted in possibly death. In the healing of a disease, you must increase the inflow and distribution of vital forces of your subconscious mind throughout your system. This can be done by eliminating thoughts of fear, worry, anxiety, jealousy, hatred, and every other destructive thought which tends to tear down and destroy your nerves and glands, body tissues, which controls the elimination of all waste material. Pott's disease cured. In the Nautilus magazine of March 1917, there appears an article about a boy suffering from Pott's disease or tuberculosis of spine who had a remarkable healing. His name was Frederick Ellis Andrews of Indianapolis, now Minister of Unity School of Christianity, Kansas City, Missouri. His physician pronounced him incurable. He began to pray, and from a crooked, twisted cripple going about on hands and knees, he became a strong, straight, well-formed man. He created his own affirmation, mentally absorbing the qualities he needed. He affirmed over and over again many times a day, "I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious and happy." He persevered and said that this prayer was the last utterance on his lips at night and the first in the morning. He prayed for the others also. By sending out thoughts of love and health, this attitude of mind and way of prayer returned to him multiplied many times. His faith and perseverance paid off with big dividends. When thoughts of fear, anger, jealousy, or envy drew his attention, he would immediately start his counteracting force of affirmation going in his mind. His subconscious mind responded according to the nature of his habitual thinking. This is the meaning of the statement in the Bible, "Go the faith that made thee whole." How faith in your subconscious power makes you whole. A young man who came to my lecture on the healing power of the subconscious mind had severe eye trouble, which his doctor said necessitated an operation. He said to himself, "My subconscious made my eyes and it can heal me." Each night as he went to sleep, he entered into a drowsy meditative state, the condition akin to sleep. His attention was immobilized and focused on the eye doctor. He imagined the doctor was in front of him and he plainly heard or imagined he heard the doctor saying to him, "A miracle has happened." He heard this over and over again every night for perhaps 5 minutes or so before going to sleep. At the end of 3 weeks, he again went to the ophthalmologist who had previously examined his eyes, and the physician said to this man, "This is a miracle." What happened? This man impressed his subconscious mind using the doctor as an instrument or a means of convincing it or conveying the idea. Through repetition, faith, and expectancy, he impregnated his subconscious mind. His subconscious mind made his eye. Within it was the perfect pattern, and immediately he proceeded to heal the eye. This is another example of how faith in the healing power of your subconscious can make you whole. Points to review. First, your subconscious is the builder of your body and is on the job 24 hours a day. You interfere with its life-giving pattern by negative thinking. Second, charge your subconscious with the task of evolving an answer to any problem prior to sleep and it will answer you. Third, watch your thoughts. Every thought accepted as a true is sent by your brain to your solar plexus, your abdominal brain, and is brought into your world as a reality. Fourth, know that you can remake yourself by giving a new blueprint to your subconscious mind. Fifth, the tendency of your subconscious is always lifeward. Your job is with your conscious mind. Feed your subconscious mind with the premises which are true. Your subconscious is always reproducing according to your habitual mental patterns. Sixth, you build a new body every 11 months. Can change your body by changing your thoughts and keeping them changed. Seventh, it is normal to be healthy. It is abnormal to be ill. There is within the innate principle of harmony. Eighth, thought of jealousy, fear, worry, anxiety tear down and destroy your nerves and glands, bringing about mental and physical diseases of all kinds. And finally, ninth one, what you affirm consciously and feel as true will be made manifest in your mind, body, and affairs. Affirm the good and enter into the joy of living. Let us get ahead with chapter number 8, how to get the results you want. The principal reason for failure are lack of confidence and too much effort. Many people block answer to their prayers by failing to fully comprehend the working of their subconscious mind. When you know how your mind functions, you gain a measure of confidence. You must remember, whenever your subconscious mind accepts an idea, it immediately begins to execute it. It uses all its mighty resources to that end and mobilizes all the mental and spiritual laws of your deeper mind. This law is true for good or bad ideas. Consequently, if you use it negatively, it brings trouble, failure, and confusion. When you use it constructively, it brings guidance, freedom, and peace of mind. The right answer is inevitable when your thoughts are positive, constructive, and loving. From this, it is perfectly obvious that the only thing you have to do in order to overcome failure is to get your subconscious to accept your idea or request by feeling its reality now, and the law of your mind will do the rest. Turn over your request with faith and confidence, and your subconscious will take over and answer for you. You will always fail to get results by trying to use a mental coercion. Your subconscious mind does not respond to coercion, it responds to the faith or conscious mind acceptance. Your failure to get results may also arise from such statements as, things are getting worse, I will never get an answer, I see no way out, it is hopeless, it don't know what to do, I am all mixed up. When you use such statements, you get no response or no cooperation from your subconscious mind. Like a soldier marking time, you neither go forward nor backward. In other words, you don't get anywhere. If you get into a taxi and give half a dozen different directions to the driver in 5 minutes, he would become hopelessly confused and probably would refuse to take you anywhere. It is the same when working with your subconscious mind. There must be a clear-cut idea in your mind. You must arrive at the definite decision that there is a way out, a solution to the vexing problem in a sickness. Only the infinite intelligence within your subconscious knows the answer. When you come to that clear-cut conclusion in your subconscious mind, your mind is then made up, and according to your belief is it done unto you. Easy does it. A house owner once remonstrated with a furnace repairman for charging $200 for fixing the boiler. The mechanic said, I charged 5 cents for the missing bolt and $199.95 for knowing what was wrong. Similarly, your subconscious mind is the master mechanic, the all-wise one, who knows ways and means of feeling any organ of your body as well as your affairs, decree health, and your subconscious will establish it, but relaxation is the key. Easy does it. Do not be concerned with the details and means, but know the end result. Get the feel of a happy solution to your problem, whether it is health, finances, or employment. Remember how you felt after you had recovered from a severe state of illness. Bear in mind that your feeling is the touchstone of all subconscious demonstration. Your new idea must be felt subjectively in a finished state, not the future, but as coming about now. Infer no opponent, use imagination and not willpower. In using your subconscious mind, you infer no opponent, you use no willpower, you imagine the end and the freedom state. You will find your intellect trying to get in the way, but persist in maintaining a simple, childlike, miracle-making faith. Picture yourself without the ailment or problem. Imagine the emotional accompaniment of the freedom state you crave. Cut out all red tapes from the process. The simple way is the best. How disciplined imagination works wonders. A wonderful way to get a response from your subconscious mind is through disciplined or scientific imagination. As previously pointed out, your subconscious mind is the builder of the body and controls all its vital functions. The Bible says, whatsoever you shall ask in prayer, believing you shall receive. To believe is to accept something as true or to live in the state of being it. As you sustain this mood, you shall experience the joy of the answered prayer. The 3 steps to success in a prayer. The usual procedure is as follows. First, take a look at the problem. Second, turn to the solution or way out known only to the subconscious mind. And third, rest in a sense of deep conviction that it is done. I will repeat it once again. The 3 steps to success in a prayer. The usual procedure is as follows. First, take a look at the problem. Second, turn to the solution or way out known only to the subconscious mind. And third, rest in a sense of deep conviction that it is done. Do not weaken your prayer by saying, I wish I might be healed, I hope so, and your feeling about the work to be done in the loss. Your feeling about the work to be done is the boss. Harmony is yours. Know the health is yours. Become intelligent by becoming a vehicle for the infinite healing power of the subconscious mind. Pass on the idea of health to your subconscious mind to the point of conviction. Then relax. Get yourself off your hands. Say to the condition and circumstances, this is too shall pass. Through relaxation, you impress your subconscious mind, enabling the kinetic energy behind the idea to take over and bring it into concrete realization. The law of reversed effort and why you get the opposite of what you pray for. Q. The famous psychologist from France who visited America about 40 years ago defined the law of a reversed effort as follows. When your desires and imaginations are in conflict, your imagination invariably gains the day. If, for example, you were asked to walk a plank on the door, you would do so without question. No response. The same plank were placed 20 feet up in the air between 2 walls. Would you walk it? Your desire to walk it would be counteracted by your imagination or fear of falling. Your dominant idea, which would be the picture of falling, would conquer. Your desire, will, or effort to walk on the plank would be reserved, and the dominant idea of a failure would be reinforced. Mental effort is invariably self-defeated, eventuating always in the opposite of what is desired. The suggestions of a powerlessness to overcome the condition dominates the mind. Your subconscious is always controlled by the dominant idea. Your subconscious will accept the stronger of 2 contradictory propositions. The effortless way is the better. If you say, I want a healing but I can't get it, I try so hard, I force myself to pray, I use all the willpower I have, you must realize that your error lies in your effort. Never try to compel the subconscious mind to accept your idea by exercising willpower. Such attempts are doomed to failure and you get the opposite of what you prayed for. The following is the rather common experience. Students, when taking examinations and reading through their papers, find that all their knowledge has suddenly deserted them. Their minds become appalling blanks and they are unable to recall one relevant thought. The more they grit their teeth and summon the powers of the will, the further the answer seems to flee. But when they have left the examination room and the mental pressure relaxes, the answers they were seeking float fantastically back into their minds. Trying to force themselves to remember was the cause of their failure. This is an example of law of reverse effort, whereby you get the opposite of what you asked or prayed for. The conflict of desire and imagination must be reconciled. To use a mental force is to presuppose that there is opposition. When your mind is concentrated on the means to overcome a problem, it is no longer concerned with the obstacle. If two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. Who are these two? It means the harmonious union or agreement between your conscious and subconscious on any idea, desire or mental image. When there is no longer any quarrel in either part of your mind, your prayer will be answered. The two agreeing may also be represented as you and your desire, your thought and feeling, your ideas and emotions, and your desires and your imaginations. You avoid all conflict between your desires and imagination by entering into a drowsy, sleepy state which brings all efforts to a minimum. The conscious mind is submerged to a great extent when in a sleepy state. The best time to impregnate your subconscious is prior to sleep. The reason for this is that the highest degree of outcropping of subconscious occurs prior to sleep and just after we awaken. In this state, the negative thought and imaginary which tend to neutralize your desire and so prevent acceptance by your subconscious mind no longer present themselves. When you imagine the reality of the fulfilled desire and feel the thrill of accomplishment, your subconscious brings about the realization of your desire. A great many people solve all their dilemmas and problems by the play of their controlled, directed and disciplined imagination, knowing that whatever they imagine and feel as true will and must come to pass. The following will clearly illustrate how a young girl overcome the conflict between her desire and her imagination. She desired a harmonious solution on her legal problem, yet her mental imagery was constantly on failure, loss, bankruptcy, and poverty. It was a complicated lawsuit, and there was one postponement after another with no solution in sight. At my suggestion, she got into a sleepy, drowsy state each night prior to sleep, and she began to imagine the happy ending, feeling it to the best of her ability. She knew that the image in her mind had to agree with her heart's desire. Prior to sleep, she began to dramatize as vividly as possible, her lawyer having an animated discussion with her regarding the outcome. She would ask him questions and he would answer her appropriately. He would say to her over and over again, "There has been a perfect harmonious solution. The case has been settled out of court." During the day, when fear thoughts came into her mind, she would run her mental movie with gestures, voice and sound equipment. She could easily imagine the sound of his voice, smile and mannerism. She ran this mental picture so often it became a subjective pattern, a regular train track. At the end of few weeks, her attorney called her and confirmed objectively what she had been imagining and feeling as true subjectively. This is really what the psalmist means when he wrote, "Let the words of my mouth, your thoughts, mental images, good, and the meditations of my heart, your feelings, nature, emotion, be acceptable in the sight, O Lord, the law of your subconscious mind, my strength and my redeemer." The power and wisdom of your subconscious mind can redeem you from your sickness, bondage and misery. Ideas worth recalling as far as chapter number 8 is concerned. First, mental coercion or too much effort shows anxiety and fear which block your answer. Easy does it. Second, when your mind is relaxed and you accept an idea, your subconscious goes to work to execute the idea. Third, think and plan independently of traditional methods. Know that there is always an answer and a solution to every problem. Fourth, do not overly do not overly concerned with the beatings of your heart, with the breathing of your lungs, or the functions of any part of your anatomy. Lean heavily upon your subconscious and proclaim frequently that divine right action is taking place. Fifth one, the feeling of health produces health, the feeling of wealth produces wealth. And how do you feel? Sixth, imagination is your most powerful faculty. Imagine what is lovely and of good report. You are what you imagine yourself to be. 7. You avoid conflict between your conscious and subconscious in the sleepy state. Imagine the fulfillment of your desire over and over again prior to sleep. Sleep in peace and wake in joy. Let us get ahead with chapter number 9. How to use the power of your subconscious for wealth. If you are having financial difficulties, if you are having the financial difficulties, if you are trying to make end meets, it means you have not convinced your subconscious mind that you will always have plenty and some to spare. You know, men and women who work a few hours a week and make a fabulous sums of money, they do not survive or slave hard. They do not strive or slave hard. Do not believe the story that the only way you can become wealthy is by the sweat of your brow and hard labor. It is not so. The effortless way of life is the best. Do the things you love to do and do it for the joy and thrill of it. I know an executive in Los Angeles who receives a salary of $75,000 yearly. Last year, he went on a 9-month cruise seeing the world and its beauty spots. He said to me that he had succeeded in convincing his subconscious mind that he is worth that much money. He told me that many men in his organization getting about $100 a week knew more about the business than he did and could manage it better, but they had no ambition, no creative ideas, and were not interested in the wonders of their subconscious mind. Wealth is of the mind. Wealth is simply a subconscious convictions on the part of the individual. You will not become a millionaire by saying, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire. You will grow into a wealth consciousness by building into your mentality the idea of wealth and abundance. Your invisible means of support. The trouble with most people is that they have no invisible means of support. When business falls away, the stock market drops, or they lose their investments, they seem helpless. The reason for such insecurity is that they do not know how to tap the subconscious mind. They are unacquainted with the inexhaustible storehouse within. A man with a poverty type mind finds himself in poverty stricken conditions. Another man with a mind filled with ideas of wealth is surrounded with everything he needs. It has never intended that man should lead a life of indigence. You can have wealth, everything you need, and plenty to spare. Your words have power to cleanse your mind of wrong ideas and to instill right ideas in their place. The ideal method for building a wealth consciousness. Perhaps you are saying as you read this chapter, I need wealth and success. This is what you do. Repeat for about 5 minutes to yourself 3 or 4 times a day, wealth, success. These words have tremendous power. They represent the inner power of the subconscious mind. Anchor your mind on this substantial power within you. The conditions and circumstances corresponding to their nature and quality will be manifested in your life. You are not saying I am wealthy. You are dwelling on real powers within you. There is no conflict in the mind when you say wealth. Furthermore, the feeling of wealth will well up within you as you dwell on the idea of wealth. The feeling of wealth produces wealth. Keep this in mind at all times. Your subconscious mind is like a bank, a sort of universal financial institutions. It magnifies whatever you deposit or impress upon it, whether it is the idea of wealth or of poverty. Choose the wealth. Why your affirmations for wealth fail? I have talked to many people during the past 35 years whose usual complaint is, I have said for weeks and months I am wealthy, I am prosperous, and nothing has happened. I discovered that when they say I am prosperous, I am wealthy, they felt within that they were lying to themselves. One man told me, I have affirmed that I am prosperous until I am tried. Things are now worse. I knew when I made the statement that it was obviously not true. His statement was rejected by the conscious mind and very opposite of what he outwardly affirmed and claimed was made manifest. Your affirmation succeeded best when it is specific and when it does not produce a mental conflict or argument. Hence, the statement made by this man made matters worse because they suggested his lack. Your subconscious accepts what you really feel to be true, not just ideal words or statements. The dominant idea or belief is always accepted by the subconscious mind. How to avoid mental conflicts? The following is the ideal way to overcome this conflict for those who have this difficulty. Make this a practical statement frequently, particularly prior to sleep. By the day and by night, I am being prospered in all of my interests. This affirmation will not arouse any argument because it does not contradict your subconscious mind's impressions of a financial lack. I suggested to one businessman whose sales and finances were very low and who was greatly worried that he sit down in his office, become quiet and repeat this statement over and over again. My sales are improving every day. This statement engaged the cooperation of the conscious and subconscious mind. Results followed. Don't sign blank checks. You sign blank checks when you make such statements as, there is not enough to go around, there is a shortage, I will lose the house because of mortgage, etc., etc. If you are full of fear about the future, you are also writing a blank check and attracting negative conditions to you. Your subconscious mind takes your fear and negative statements as your request and proceeds in its own way to bring obstacles, delays, lack, and limitations into your life. Your subconscious gives you compound interest. To him that hath the feeling of wealth, more wealth shall be added. To him that hath the feeling of lack, more lack shall be added. Your subconscious multiplies and magnifies whatever you deposit in it. Every morning as you awaken, deposit thought of prosperity, success, wealth, and peace. Dwell upon these concepts. Busy your mind with them as often as possible. These constructive thoughts will find their way as deposits in your subconscious mind and brings forth abundance and prosperity. Why nothing happened? I can hear you saying, oh, I did that and nothing happened. You did not get results because you indulged in fear thought perhaps 10 minutes later and neutralized the good you had affirmed. When you place a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up. You let it take root and grow. Suppose, for example, you are going to say, I shall not be able to make that payment. Before you get further than I shall, stop the sentence and dwell on the constructive statement such as, by the day, by night, I am prospered in all my ways. Which statement we need to repeat? By the day and by night, I am prospered in all my ways. True source of wealth. Your subconscious mind is never short of ideas. There are within it an infinite number of ideas ready to flow into your conscious mind and appear as cash in your pocketbook in countless ways. This process will continue to go on in your mind regardless of whether the stock market goes up or down, or whether the pound sterling or dollar drops in value. Your wealth is never truly dependent on bonds, stocks, or money in the banks. These are really only symbols, necessary and useful, of course, but only symbols. The point I wish to emphasize is that if you convince your subconscious mind that wealth is yours and that it is always circulating in your life, you will always and inevitably have it regardless of the forms it takes. Trying to make ends meet and the real cause. There are many people who claim that they are always trying to make ends meet. They seem to have a great struggle to meet their obligations. How you listen to their conversation? In many instances, their conversation runs along this vein. They are constantly condemning those who have succeeded in life and who have raised their heads above the crowd. Perhaps they are saying, "Oh, that fellow has a racket. He is ruthless. He is crook." This is why they are condemning the things they desire and want. The reason they speak critically of their more prosperous associates is because they are envious and covetous of the other's prosperity. The quickest way to cause wealth to take wings and fly away is to criticize and condemn others who have more wealth than you. A common stumbling block of wealth. There is one emotion which is the cause of lack of wealth in the lives of many. Most people learn this the hard way. It is envy. For example, if you see a competitor depositing large sums of money in the bank and you have only a meager amount to deposit, does it make you envious? The way to overcome this emotion is to say to yourself, "Isn't it wonderful? I rejoice in that man's prosperity. I wish for him greater and greater wealth." To entertain envious thoughts is devastating because it places you in a very negative position. Therefore, wealth flows from you instead of to you. If you are ever annoyed or irritated by the prosperity or great wealth of another, claim immediately that you truly wish for him greater wealth in every possible way. This will neutralize the negative thoughts in your mind and cause an ever greater measure of wealth to flow to you by the law of your own subconscious mind, rubbing out a great mental block to wealth. If you are worried and critical about someone whom you claim is making money dishonestly, cease worrying about him. You know such a person is using the law of mind negatively. The law of mind takes care of him. Be careful not to criticize him for the reasons previously indicated. Remember, the block or obstacle to wealth is in your own mind. You can now destroy that mental block. This you may do by getting on mental good terms with everyone. Sleep and grow rich. As you go to sleep at night, practice the following technique. Repeat the word wealth quietly, easily, and feelingly. Do this over and over again, just like a lullaby. Lull yourself to sleep with the one word wealth. You should be amazed at the results. Wealth will flow to you in avalanches of abundance. This is another example of the magic power of your subconscious mind. That's it as far as chapter number 9 is concerned. Serve yourself with the powers of your mind. First one, decide to be wealthy the easy way with the infallible aid of your subconscious mind. Second, trying to accumulate wealth by the sweat of your brow and hard labor is one way to become the richest man in the graveyard. You do not have to strive or slave hard. Third one, Wealth is a subconscious conviction built into your mentality, the idea of wealth. Fourth, the trouble with most people is that they have no invisible means of support. Fifth, repeat the word wealth to yourself slowly, quietly for about 5 minutes prior to sleep, and your subconscious will bring wealth to pass in your experience. Sixth, the feeling of wealth produces wealth. Keep this in mind at all times. 7. Your conscious and subconscious mind must agree. Your subconscious accepts that you really feel to be true. The dominant idea is always accepted by your subconscious mind. The dominant idea should be wealth, not poverty. 8. You can overcome any mental conflict regarding wealth by affirming frequently, by day and by night, I am being prospered in all of my interests. 9th one, increase your sales by repeating this statement over and over again. My sales are improving every day. I am advancing, progressing and getting wealthier every day. 10th one, stop writing blank checks such as there is not enough to go around or there is a shortage, etc., etc. Such statements magnifies and multiply your loss. 11th one, deposit thoughts of prosperity, wealth and success in your subconscious mind and the latter will give you compound interest. 12th, what you consciously affirm, you must not mentally deny a few moments later. This will neutralize the good you have affirmed. 13th one, your true source of wealth consists of ideas in your mind. You can have an idea worth millions of dollars. Your subconscious will give you the idea you seek. 4th, envy and jealousy are stumbling blocks to the flow of wealth. Rejoice in the prosperity of others. And finally, 15th one, the block to wealth is in your own mind. Destroy that blocks now by getting on good mental terms with everyone. And last chapter as per as part 2 is concerned, chapter number 10, your right to be rich. It is your right to be rich. You are here to lead the abundance life and be happy, radiant and free. You should therefore have all the money you need to lead a full, happy and prosperous life. You are here to grow, expand and unfold spiritually, mentally and materially. You have the inalienable right to fully develop and express yourself along all lines. You should surround yourself with beauty and luxury. Why be satisfied with just enough to go around when you can enjoy the riches of your subconscious mind? In this chapter, you can learn to make friends with money and you should always have a surplus. Your desires to be rich is a desire for a fuller, happier, more wonderful life. It is a cosmic urge. It is not only good but also very good. Money is a symbol. Money is a symbol of exchange. It means to you not only freedom from want but beauty, luxury, abundance and refinement. It is merely a symbol of economic health of the nation. When your blood is circulating freely in your body, you are healthy. When money is circulating freely in your life, you are economically healthy. When people begin to hoard money, to put it away in tin boxes and become charged with fear, there is economic illness. Money has taken many forms as a medium of exchange down to the centuries, such as salt, beads and trinkets of various kinds. In early times, a man's wealth was determined by the number of sheep and oxen he had. Now we use currency and other negotiable instruments, as it is much more convenient to write a check than carry some sheep around with you to pay bills. How to walk the royal road to riches. Knowledge of the powers of your subconscious mind is the means to the royal road to riches of all kinds, spiritual, mental or financial. The student of the laws of mind believes and knows definitely that regardless of economic situations, stock market fluctuations, depressions, strikes, war, other conditions or circumstances, he still always be amply supplied regardless of what form money takes. The reason for this is it keeps him supplied wherever he may be. He has convinced himself in his mind that money is forever flowing freely in his life and that there is always a wonderful surplus. Should there be a financial collapse of government tomorrow and all the man's present holdings become valueless, as the German marks did after the First World War, he would still attract wealth and be cared for regardless of the form the new currency took. Why you do not have more money? As you read this chapter, you are probably saying, I am worthy of a higher salary than I am receiving. I believe most people are inadequately compensated. One of the causes many people does not have more money is that they are silently or openly condemning it. They refer to money as filthy liquor, or the love of money is the root of all evil. Another reason they do not prosper is that they have a sneaky subconscious feeling there is some virtue in poverty. This subconscious pattern may be due to early childhood training, superstition, or it could be based on false interpretation of scriptures. Money and a balanced life. One time a man said to me, I am broke, I do not like money, it is the root of all evil. These statements represent a confused neurotic mind. Love of money to the exclusion of everything else will cause you to become lopsided and unbalanced. You are here to use your power or authority wisely. Some men crave power, others crave money. If you set your heart on money exclusively and say, money is all I want, I am going to give all my attention to amassing money and nothing else matters. You can get money and attain a fortune, but you have forgotten that you are here to lead a balanced life. You must also satisfy the hunger for peace of mind, harmony, love, joy, and perfect health. By making money your sole aim, you simply made a wrong choice. You thought that was all you wanted, but you found after all your efforts that it was not only the money you needed. You also desired true expression of your hidden talents, true place in a life, beauty, and the joy of contributing to the welfare and success of others. By learning the laws of your subconscious mind, you could have $1 million or many millions if you wanted them, and still have peace of mind, harmony, perfect health, and perfect expression. Poverty is a mental disease. There is no virtue in poverty. It is a disease like any other mental disease. If you were physically ill, you would think there was something wrong with you. You would seek help and do something about the condition at once. Likewise, if you do not have money constantly circulating in your life, there is something radically wrong with you. The urge of the life principle in you is towards growth, expansion, and the life more abundant. You are not here to live in a hovel, dress in a rags, and go hungry. You should be happy, prosperous, and successful. Why you must never criticize money? Cleanse your mind of all weird and superstitious beliefs about money. Do not ever regard money as evil or filthy. If you do, you cause it to take wings and fly away from you. Remember that you lose what you condemn, you cannot attract what you criticize. Getting the right attitude towards money. Here is a simple technique you may use to multiply money in your experience. Use the following statement several times a day. I like money, I love it, I use it wisely, constructively, and judiciously. Money is constantly circulating in my life. I release it with joy, and it returns to me multiplied in wonderful ways. It is good and very good. Money flows to me in avalanches of abundance. I use it for good only, and I am grateful for my good and for the riches of my mind. How the scientific thinker looks at money. Suppose, for example, you found gold, silver, lead, copper or iron in the ground. Would you pronounce these things evil? All evil comes from the man's darkened understanding, from his ignorance, from his false interpretation of life, and from his misuse of his subconscious. Uranium, lead or some other metal could have been used as a medium of exchange. We use paper bills, checks, nickel and silver. Surely these are not evil. Physicists and chemists know today that the only difference between one metal and another is the number and rate of motion of electrons revolving around the central nucleus. They can now change one metal into another through a bombardment of the atoms in the powerful cyclotron. Gold under certain conditions become mercury. I believe that our modern scientists in the near future will be able to make gold, silver and other metals synthetically in the chemical laboratory. The cost may be prohibitive now, but it can be done. I cannot imagine any intelligent person seeing anything evil in electrons, neutrons, protons and isotopes. The piece of paper in your pocket is composed of atoms and molecules with their electron and protons arranged differently. Their number and rate of motion are different. That is the only way the paper differs from the silver in your pocket. How to attract the money you need. Many years ago, I met a young boy in Australia who wanted to become a physician and a surgeon, but he had no money. I explained to him how a seed deposited in the soil attracts to itself everything necessary for its unfolding, and that all he had to do was to take a lesson from the seed and deposit the required idea in his subconscious mind. For expenses, this young brilliant boy used to clean out doctors' offices, wash windows, and do odd repair jobs. He told me that every night as he went to sleep, he used to picture in his mind's eye a medical diploma on a wall with his name on it in big bold letters. He used to clean and shine the framed diplomas in the medical building where he worked. It was not hard for him to engrave the image of a diploma in his mind and develop it there. Definite results followed as he persisted with his mental picture every night for about 4 months. The sequel of this story was very interesting. One of the doctors took a great liking to this young boy, and after training him in the art of sterilizing instruments, giving hypodermic injections and other miscellaneous first aid work, he employed him as a technical assistant in his office. The doctor later sent him to medical school at his own expense. Today, this young man is a prominent medical doctor in Montreal, Canada. He discovered the law of attraction by using his subconscious mind the right way. He operated an age-old law which says, having seen the end, you have willed the means to be realization of the end. The end in this case was to become a medical doctor. This young man was able to imagine, see, feel the reality of being a doctor. He lived with that idea, sustained it, nourished it, and loved it until through his imagination it penetrated the layers of his subconscious mind and become a conviction, thereby attracting to him everything necessary for the fulfillment of his dream. Why some men do not get a raise in pay. If you are working in a large organization and you are silently thinking of and resenting the fact you are underpaid, that you are not appreciated, and that you deserve more money and greater recognition, you are subconsciously serving your ties with that organization. You are setting a law in motion, and the superintendent or manager will say to you, "We have to let you go." Actually, you dismissed yourself. The manager was simply the instrument through which your own negative mental state was confirmed. It was an example of the law of action and reaction. The action was your thought, and the reaction was the response of your subconscious mind. Obstacles and impediments on the pathway to riches. I am sure you have heard men say, "That fellow has a racket, he is a racketeer, he is getting money dishonestly, he is a faker, I knew him when he had nothing, he is a crook, a thief, and a swindler." If you analyze the man who talks like that, you discover he is usually in want or suffering from some financial or physical illness. Perhaps his former college friends went up the ladder of success and excelled him. Now he is bitter and envious of their progress. In many instances, this is the cause of his downfall. Thinking negatively of these classmates and condemning their wealth causes the wealth and prosperity he is praying for to vanish and flee away. He is condemning the thing he is praying for. He is praying two ways. On the one hand, he is saying wealth is flowing to me now, and in the next breath, silently or audibly, he is saying, "I resent that fellow's wealth." Always make it a special point to rejoice in the wealth of the other person. Protect your investments. If you are seeking wisdom regarding investments, or if you are worried about your stocks or bonds, quietly claim, "Infinite intelligence governs and watches over all my financial transactions, and whatsoever I do shall prosper." Do this frequently, and you will find that your investments will be wise. Moreover, you will be protected from loss, as you will be prompted to sell your securities or holdings before any loss occurs to you. You cannot get something for nothing. In large stores, the management employs store detectives to prevent people from stealing. They catch a number of people every day trying to get something for nothing. All such people are living in the mental atmosphere of lack and limitation, and are stealing from themselves peace, harmony, faith, honesty, integrity, goodwill, and confidence. Furthermore, they are attracting to themselves all manner of loss, such as loss of character, prestige, social status, and peace of mind. These people lack faith in the source of supply and the understanding of how their minds work. If they would mentally call on the powers of their subconscious mind and claim that they are guided to their true expression, they would find work and constant supply. Then by honesty, integrity, and perseverance, they would become a credit to themselves and to society at large. Your constant supply of money. Recognizing the powers of your subconscious mind and the creative power of your thought or mental image is the way to opulence, freedom, and constant supply. Accept the abundance life in your own mind. Your mental acceptance and expectancy of wealth has its own mathematics and mechanics of expression. As you enter into the mood of opulence, all things necessary for the abundant life will come to pass. Let this be your daily affirmation. Write it in your heart. I am one with the infinite riches of my subconscious mind. It is my right to be rich, happy, and successful. Money flows to me freely, copiously, and endlessly. I am forever conscious of my true worth. I give up my talents freely and I am wonderfully blessed financially. It is wonderful. That's it as per as the last chapter of this part 2 is concerned. Okay, let us get ahead with the step up this way to riches. First, be bold enough to claim that it is your right to be rich and your deeper mind will honor your claim. Second, you don't want just enough to go around. You want all the money you need to do all the things you want to do, and when you want to do them. Get acquainted with the riches of your subconscious mind. Third, when money is circulating freely in your life, you are economically healthy. Look at money like a tide and you will always have plenty of it. The ebb and flow of the tide is constant. When the tide is out, you are absolutely sure that it will return. Fourth, knowing the law of your subconscious mind, you will always be supplied regardless of what form money takes. Fifth one reason many people simply make ends meet and never have enough money is that they condemn money. What you condemn takes wings and flies away. Sixth, do not make a god of money. It is only a symbol. Remember that the real riches are in your mind. You are here to lead a balanced life. This includes acquiring all the money you need. 7. Don't make money your sole aim. Claim wealth, happiness, peace, true expression, and love, and personally radiate love and goodwill to all. Then your subconscious mind will give you compound interest in all these fields of expression. 8th one, there is no virtue in poverty. It is a disease of the mind and you should heal yourself of this mental conflict or malady at once. 9th one, you are not here to live in a hovel, to dress in a rags, or to go hungry. You are here to lead the life more abundant. 10th, never use the terms filthy, lucre, or I despise money. You lose what you criticize. There is nothing good or bad, but thinking of it in either light makes it so. 11th one, repeat frequently, I like money. I use it wisely, constructively, and judiciously. I release it with joy and it returns 1,000-fold. 12th, money is not evil any more so than copper, lead, tin, or iron, which you may find in the ground. All evil is due to ignorance and misuse of mind's powers. 13. To picture the end result in your mind causes your subconscious to respond and fulfill your mental picture. 14th one, stop trying to get something for nothing. There is no such thing as a free lunch. You must give to receive. You must give mental attention to your goals, ideas, and enterprises, and your deeper mind will back you up. The key to wealth is application of the laws of subconscious mind by impregnating it with the idea of wealth. That's it as per as the part 2 of this very special book entitled as The Power of Your Subconscious Mind is concerned. Thank you so much all of you for connecting with us. Let us meet in the next episode of this very special book which is entitled as The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. तब तक हंसते रहिए, मुस्कुराते रहिए, कुछ अच्छा सुनते रहिए. ओके, बाय लुकिंग एट द सिचुएशन आउटसाइड, अगर आपको बाहर जाने की ज़रूरत पड़ रही है तो प्लीज़ वियर योर मास्क, मेंटेन सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग एंड बार बार अपने जो हाथ है वो साबुन से या सैनिटाइजर से साफ करते रहिए. अप्रिशिएट आवर एफर्ट्स बाय सब्सक्राइबिंग टू आवर चैनल एंड प्लीज़ गिव अस और ऑफर अस वन मोर फेवर. Please help us by sharing this video with as many people as you can to spread the techniques and tools which are used to have the what we can say more healthy, happy and prosperous life of your loved ones. Thank you so much all of you. Thank you once again.
Appreciate our efforts by subscribing to our channel. Thank you.